I'm Gerd Leonhard, futurist. I'm in Zurich, Switzerland, and I've been a friend of Glen's for a long time. Met Glen in Amsterdam, like, I don't know, decades ago, and Dave also quite some time. And this project came about in an interesting way about maybe, I don't know, half a year ago or so. When we were sitting down, we were saying that we all feel like Buckminster Fuller has been so important in our lives as a source of driving futurism. And then everything he talks about kind of feels like, even though it was 50 years ago, it kind of feels like it's real now, right? So, and this is why we're here. So we basically agreed that we are at the fork in the road, which Bucky talks about at all times. Oh, by the way, if you're not talking, just mute your microphone. That would be great, because otherwise we're going to get pictures jumping back and forth. And let me see. I'm going to just make this a little bit a spotlight so you can see this better. So let's introduce the people who are the initiators. We don't have founders or owners of this. It's basically completely like, we're doing this because I think it needs to be done. There's the three of us, and Anton was part of the birth of this a couple of months ago as well, Anton Musgrave. But there's three of us now, so let's kick off with David. Can you say something about yourself, David? Great, and maybe I can add something right here. You know, we are all three slightly older white guys, but our intention is to make that necessary step of expanding into diversity ASAP. And we've made lots of efforts on getting more diversity into this group already, but you know, we're still at the beginning, so it's obviously not our intent to to remain in this formation here. So, and then there's Glen Hiemstra, futurist.com. Glen, you want to? Great, thanks, Glen. So myself, I've been a futurist for, I don't know, almost 20 years. I used to be in the music business. I write books, I make movies, and my key topic has been for the last 5 years technology and humanity, the convergence of man and machine, and all of the consequences of that. And as part of that work, I kept reading Alvin Toffler and all the old, you know, futurists that I look up to. And then Buckminster Fuller came back into the spotlight of his whole philosophy being basically that we will have all the tools, but are we going to use them in the right way? Right? I think Bucky actually said, we're inventing all the right technology, but for the wrong reason. Right? And that set me off on this path of saying, we are actually, this is post-COVID or with COVID, we're catalyzed into action now. This is the point of unique action also because of COVID. So As of today, we have a simple website, forkontheroadproject.com. It's really very simple. Don't spend much time on there. It's going to vastly improve, hopefully, in the next couple of weeks. But this is the skeleton on the website. And we have a medium project, also the Fork in the Road, that we will invite you to later on. Okay. So I'm just going to go through some of the bullets that we have put together. And then we'll have a discussion about the next steps and all that stuff. Right? So before we do that, we'd like to know who's there. And David, this is your part of the equation. So one of the reasons that I think this is now is because to pinpoint the headline here, we discussed this in and out when we started writing the manifesto, and we really think that this decade may very well decide if we're going to live as a species or not. When we're looking at climate change, when we're looking at AI, when we're looking at genetic engineering, that's it's all going to happen in the next 10 years, right? I mean, I know people keep saying that about every decade, but it's kind of like, it seems more timely now, and it's also driven by this, right? The corona crisis has this opportunity for wide-scale change because people are considering paradigm changes now, right? Everybody is saying, okay, we didn't think it was possible that we can do this. We did it with corona, the vaccine, and so on. And that's going to be transferred to climate change, we believe. It's going to be transferred to other debates. And so we are at the point where nothing seems untouchable or impossible anymore. Like in Europe, we have the stimulus packages that's tied into the Green Deal. Right? So you want to get money, you have to actually follow the Green Deal as well. So we think this is a very unique point, kind of like after a world war or so, where it's like reboot time, and things are up for discussion, and we'll discuss if you agree with that or not. But so here's the bottom line definition of what this project is. It's open, public, global, non-commercial, non-partisan. This is not an initiative for us to get more speaking work. It's not an initiative to get more branding on any of us. It's basically a collective, okay? And we have some more detailed bullets. I'll take myself out so you can see them better. So we call it a collective. A true collective in the sense of that we're equal in the collective. We have people who are different experts on different topics, and the rising tide will float all boats, but it's a collective, right? The purpose is to inject urgency without being dystopia, right, in a nutshell. Right? So urgency means we have 10 years to get it right. We're not too late, but we really only have that time. Not fixing climate change will be irreversible in 20 years. Not dealing with AGI or coming up with rules about technology, geoengineering, and so on, right? So we want to provide positive future perspectives and catalyze real action. And the way we want to do that is by public debate and, of course, by media, which all of us are quite good in. But really the goal is to launch a global Sign the Manifesto campaign. And that's going to require a lot more people than we currently have here assembled, right? But basically getting people who are influential to go behind the campaign, kind of like the business roundtable, with the stakeholder economy, but on a larger level. To say, I'm going to sign the manifesto, but I'm going to take real action on the bullets that we have pointed out, which we'll get to in a second, right? So that is kind of the long-term view. We're guided by open source and Creative Commons principles, which means whatever you add in, you can build on top and do something else with it, like people do in open source, right? There's no real ownership of those, obviously, of the ideas, but it's basically those are the kind of cornerstones, right? We're initiators, not owners. We're not the warrants. We're not we're not saying what is being done. We just happen to be in the right place at the right time. Four core topics, which we'll talk about later. It's about the topics. And the signatories of the manifesto, which we'll discuss in a second, we want the signatories are invited to contribute in multiple ways. For example, getting other signatories, contributing content, participating in online shows. It all depends how much time you want to donate to the cause, so to speak. And so some keywords, just to make it more graphic. Urgency. That is the number one keyword. Why is it happening now? Because right now is the time when people are thinking about making real changes. That is the unique time frame that we're in with the sort of beyond COVID scenario, right? Hope, positive scenarios, not scenarios of dystopia, we're all going to die, AI is going to kill us, Black Mirror and so on, you know, all that sort of stuff, right? First the robots take our job and then they kill us, right? That's not our story. So it's about hope and positive perspective. It's about pointing out the choices that we're making. The future is a choice, that's our mantra. I'm sure all of you would agree with that. Leading to real action and finally to the sort of ephemerally named good future. I realize that, you know, we realize that there's no such thing as a universal good future, but we just used it as the final destination, you know, as opposed to a bad future, Orwellian future. Those are the keywords. The goals to accelerate and supercharge a global debate. That debate is going on, but not nearly enough. And who owns the debate of the future? It's the tech companies, right? That's not necessarily bad, but this is our reality. We'd like the civil society to be injected back into this. We want to create media, films, content, conferences. Of course, that's kind of, you know, pie in the sky at this point, right? But, you know, get-togethers that are powerful. And of course, we want to mobilize and influence the leaders in civil society, whoever they are. Because, you know, a lot of these components are political and policy-oriented. Not political in a partisan way, but in terms of society, right? Obviously, they have implications like this. The positive view, collaborate with all of the existing organizations, whether it's the World Economic Forum or, you know, the Buckminster Fuller Institute, of course, right? And whoever is out there, you know, if we find it appropriate. And in the end, it's kind of starting a global movement, right? What we perceive as success would be something like in 2 years from now, the question that you're going to ask a politician or a CEO is whether they signed the manifesto. Kind of. Yeah. I know that sounds really crazy ambitious, right? But, you know, that's playing with that, right? So the levels of involvement, this is where you guys come in. First, of course, we want to get, before we do all of this, we want to get your feedback to see if there's anything really good about this and if you want to go behind it like we had intended. And then we want people to sign the manifesto, which is kind of done, but still up for debate for some of the details. And just say that you're a signatory, you know, right? You've seen the 1-page or 2-page document. It's also on the website. That's the first step. The second one is advise on what's missing and what we can do better. Well, you know, we being us, you know, basically what needs work, right? And this is the crucial point, involve other high-profile signatories. Anyone that is a person that can increase the range of our discussions. Influential people. And, as I was saying earlier, with a special aspect on diversity. So, you know, from all races, cultures, sexes, you know, we have way too many men as usual. Very important. We'd appreciate your support. You know, we're looking hard to fix that issue. Contribute content. You write a story, you can repurpose a story, you participate in Zoom events, make your own videos. And then we have a gigantic Slack hub that's being developed to discuss the actual action items. So climate change, what is our recommendation? What's your opinion? Technology regulation, AI, AGI, you know, we're going to have all these kind of working things, and they'll be done on Slack. You guys probably know Slack, the collaboration platform. Very good thing. And finally, involve governments. Wherever you are, I'm working hard in the Swiss government, and with John Isles, I'm working on New Zealand, which in many ways already has a head start on these conversations. For some reason, I don't know, it's really like that has already happened there. So, all right. So the core issues, and then we're going to kick off in the discussion. Okay, we are suggesting those 4 core issues, and with a lot of debate, they have emerged as the issues without having any opinion on the core issues, except for climate change. I think where 100% agreement is there. So climate change, humane use of technology, ethics of AI, regulation, Yeah, what's going to happen with technology in 10 years? Sustainable economics, that's kind of keyword, sustainable capitalism, rebooting capitalism, new economics, people, planet, profit, stakeholder economy. And the fourth one is human enhancement, longevity, transhumanism. You know, those are the kind of four key topics that we see for now. Of course, there are many, many others, but ideally, we'd like to get to the place where we can say we have some ideas and some action items that we all agree on, and some that we don't all agree on. But you know, all of those things, you know, when everything starts rolling, they're all intertwined, of course, right? So realizing that the economic circumstances impacting everything else. So that's the topics, and I'll end here because take myself out literally. These are the questions we'd like to ask of you and get your feedback on what we've already discussed. So open microphone now if you don't want to talk, or if you're not talking, just stay on mute. Otherwise, just fire away or raise your hand. I don't think we have to raise hands. We don't have that many people. So